What's up, you dirtbags? Before we dive into this episode, I want to give a huge shout out to one of our day one supporters, Kinetic Leasing. If you've ever listened to the podcast before, you've definitely heard us talk about them. They are our go-to team for money questions and also getting approved for financing. Not only do they help us, but they help many others that listen to the podcast get approved for financing. It's an application-only financing up to $250,000 on approved credit. They have fast approvals and you can save cash with no money down. At the very least, just give them a call, see what you can get approved for, and then check your rates. A couple ways you can reach out to them. You can give their office a call. It's at 701-476-0221. Just make sure to mention that the Dirtbag sent you, and they'll definitely help you out. And then you can also email them, sales@kineticlease.com. We also have all of their information on the Dirtbags podcast website. So go check them out, tell them we sent you, and let's get into it. What's up, you dirtbags? My name is Luke Egebrand, and I'm joined here with the man, Mr. Luke Payne. How's it going, dude?
Luke, cheers, brother.
Cheers.
See you have another non-alcoholic beer with you on draft tonight. What are you having?
Yes, sir. We got the all-famous Guinness Zero. It
looked pretty dark.
Yeah, can't even taste the difference. Got that, and then as a backup, just in case we dive into it here, I got a little Sam Adams, just the haze.
Hell yeah.
So a couple waters as well. But what do you got cooking?
I got a trusty old Coors Light. Ryan and I just got back from dinner, and I had a little whiskey, and I was like, I can't do another one of those tonight for some reason. So beer it is.
Yeah, there you go. How's your big trip out to is Big Sky, right?
Yeah, Big Sky. Trip was fun. They didn't have a whole lot of snow, but it's always fun to go out with family and just kind of spend some time and kind of relax and rewind a little, or whatever the fuck I'm trying to say. I don't know. Unwind. Yeah, not rewind. Unwind. Sorry. A little bit, and just have some fun. So Lila, our 3-year-old, we got her on skis and we were putting her on the bunny hill, put her in a couple lessons, and that was really fun to kind of see and experience. That was probably the highlight of the trip.
Yeah.
And of course, the day we leave, it fucking snows 8 inches, but that's just par for the course.
Yeah. Is that was her first time out there, right?
First time in Big Sky. Yeah. We've taken her to like DL, and she's gone on the DL mountain, and like we'll pull her around with the poles, but this was like her first time actually going down a hill. We got to work on stopping, but she's really good at going down.
Yeah, that's good. No, I saw some of those videos and it looked like a good time. I think, especially getting like the family together too.
Yeah.
Liv and I were going through, we try and do like a visualization exercise of like our next 5-10 years of what we want it to look like. And actually, as I kept thinking about it, it was somewhere in the mountains, like in Colorado or Montana, taking like a couple weeks in the winter and just getting as many families and friends together during that period. And I was like, man, that's just so cool to get everyone together. And especially like during, Christmas time or New Year, it's just like most people kind of can take that off, and it's a good reset for people.
Yeah, I was talking to Matt Studi the other day, and we were just chatting it up. And I told him I forgot they're not married yet. His fiance is a realtor, and I was telling him like Riley and I want to move out in that area for like 6 months in the winter season. So 6 months here, and then obviously busy season 6 months back in Fargo. So I'm saving my pennies for that to happen. So we'll see.
Dude, that would be sweet. Would it be like in which part? Like in Big Sky?
We're either thinking the Whitefish area or like the Bozeman Belgrade area. So it just kind of depends on. I like the Whitefish better right now, just because of they call Bozeman Bose Angeles, and it's becoming very uppity. All the people from California are moving there. Whitefish, I'm sure, is too, but it's a little bit more smaller town, it feels like, and I don't know, just fun to be. So we'll see if that happens or not, but that's one of our goals. So
yeah, dude, that's awesome. Especially as you're looking at goals, like it's one thing to have like a dream, but it's another thing to like look at prices and be like, well, how much does it cost? And actually putting pen to paper and seeing like, well, how do we get there? And Liv and I do that all the time because it's just like it's fun to dream and stuff, but it's like, well, are we talking like 8 months or 18 months or 6 years? Like let's let's try and make this thing happen, like whatever
Yeah.
it is.
And it's fun if you can like kind of push that goal a little bit to like,
Yeah.
hey, realistically, we can do it in 5, so let's try to do it in 3, you
Yeah.
know? So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
speaking of goals, you and Liv just smashed one of yours, didn't you? Get how was that?
Yeah. So we did. We ran our first ever marathon, full marathon. We're not runners, and it's one of those things like at the beginning of the year, we knew it was on our bucket list sometime in our lifetime to run a marathon. And Liv was like, okay, in the next 3 to 5 years, we got to get this done. And I must have woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm like, we're doing it this year. And she's like, are you serious? Like, are you sure? I'm like, yep, let's do it. And I guess my reasoning is like, 28, she's 26. We're just going to keep getting older. I'm going to hate it even more the older I get. And so, just figured like if we have 8 to 12 months to train, you can basically do anything. So, yeah, we kind of set the goal, and then our reasoning for it too is like, okay, if we do this, we're gonna do it in a place where we've never been, in a place that we're excited to go to. And so there's the Honolulu Marathon, and it was in December, which is perfect because it gave us the most time to train. And then we'd never been to Hawaii, and then it was also the number one walking marathon in the country or something. So we're like, okay, cool. There's no cutoff time and there's no qualification, and so like anyone can just go and run it. And yeah, dude, like we training was, hit and miss, I'd say. And, we had a couple good ones though right before. And so we felt good going into it. And yeah, it was challenging to say the least.
I can imagine because I feel like I always like see stories and people are like halfway through and they're like, fuck this. Like I'm done. Is that
Yeah.
was that kind of like your realization, like I'm only halfway done, or was like when was like your hardest point? Because I heard towards the end, then it's just kind
Yeah.
of like autopilot. You know,
Y-
you're there.
Yeah. So crazy enough, like the first half marathon what blew by. Like it didn't even feel like we were running. I mean, it was still dark out when we
Mhm.
finished the first half. And so we started at 5 a.m. There's 21,000 people that cross the start line running.
Damn.
And so, I mean, and you're just hopped up on adrenaline, of course, and all that. But uh, um, it was, I think it was mile 18 or 19. And I was like still cruising pretty good. And Liv and I ran together and I didn't have any music going at the time. And I just remember hearing somebody's voice breaking and just like like almost like it was crying, but she wasn't crying. And so I kind of looked back and I was like, are you good? And she was just like almost like breaking inside, and there was no tears. It was almost just like dust coming out. But
Yeah.
it I know that part we hit a wall, and so slowed up the pace a little bit. And then I think for me, it was like 20 mile 23. I knew you still had a few miles left, but it was more like my knees and my hips started to like, okay,
You're
this
like
is,
they're gonna give out here.
yeah, dude. And so it, surprisingly enough, my mental state was really solid because I'm like, there's no way I'm not going to finish because I'm not ever going to do this again. And so I felt good up top, but I would say like my body was hurting a bit towards the end. And then shit, like I burned 3,000 calories during the run.
Holy shit. Yeah, you were burning calories.
So, and somebody asked like, how much did I eat? And like, I like wasn't really hungry during the whole thing. So I had like a Cliff Bar and like some cashews and then a bunch of like Gatorade and shit. So like that was it. And so after we just felt like crap. And so we went and, ate a cheeseburger and like that didn't really help. And then dude, we went to bed at like 2 p.m. and woke up at 5 p.m. to go get dinner. And I like walked to the bathroom and I thought my knees were gonna explode. Like they were bone on bone, brutal. So that was like the worst I felt. And then the next morning felt a lot better. Funny enough too, actually, I Liv convinced me to go get a pedicure at a little hole in the wall
Hell
place.
yeah. I bet it felt really
And
good.
so I had to flip the lady an extra 20 to do mine and get the power tools out to take care of my feet. But that was quite the experience too, because my feet have never been touched, so they were pretty nasty.
Hey, that's okay. At least you cleaned them up. Good for Liv for talking you into that. I've never done one personally, but Riley's always like, "You got to do one." I'm like,
Yeah.
"No."
I wouldn't do it again unless I had something like that, like a marathon or something, but I don't know. I don't know if I loved people touching my feet.
No, and yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. And I don't know. I'm not a big like massage guy. And I feel
Yeah.
like how they like, yeah, I'd pass.
Yeah,
I'd pass.
but yeah, dude. So it was awesome. Honestly, like felt really good to like set that goal,
Yeah.
12
And then
months out and then like do it. I mean, it just yeah, Liv and I, we did it together and like it was tough though. It was one of those things where it's just like it wasn't one where we could just do right away and just be like, "Oh, sweet, we did it." Like it took a lot of work and yeah, I have so much respect for people that do that on a daily basis or do them all the time.
yeah. I couldn't. There's no way. I would get to like mile 10 and I would probably tap out. I am not a runner. And I think wrestling days just fucking broke me of the running. Red
Yeah.
flag days in specific.
Speaking of wrestling, so after the marathon, we went to Maui for 3 days, and Parker Jackson lives there. So
Oh, you got to see Parker.
yeah, so we went out and grabbed dinner with him, and then we
Wow.
went and grabbed a drink somewhere, and yeah, it's cool. He's lived in Maui for like 3 years, so we went and hung out with him and showed him a couple wrestling moves I learned, and
There you go.
took him down.
Taught him something, taught him a thing or two.
Yeah, exactly. But
I haven't seen Parker in a long time.
yeah, so it's good to see him. But dude, it was good, and kind of like you and I were talking about right before this. No matter where we seem to go, like we're kind of always ready to get back home, and I think a part of it is just getting back in a routine. Um, we don't we like taking trips and less vacations. I think I would rather do 53 day vacations rather than like a few 10-day vacations because just quicker trips. I would rather get in, get out, get back to work. Um, but it's hard for me to kind of disconnect for longer than like 7 days.
Hard to be away for that long because it's like you have to pack so much in order to like accommodate yourself for the things that you want to do. To where if it's like 3 days, you're like, all right, I'm going to pack these 3 days full of shit and I'm going to be ready to be home. If it's 8 days, then there's days where you feel like where you probably are doing nothing and you're like, I could be at home right now. And you're always
Yeah.
constantly thinking about the things that you could be doing. So I'm with you. I'm 3 days and I'm good. 3 to 4 days, get me home.
Yeah. Do you have any big trips planned this 2024, like where you're going to be gone from work
Yeah,
and everything?
actually, I got two of them. Well, three of them. So in February, we're going back out to Montana. Me, Will, Dylan, and Taylor. We're gonna take a little
Okay.
guys snowmobiling trip.
All right.
So that'll be fun. I booked the first time ever. I wanted to do this for a long time. I booked an elk hunt out in Utah in October. So I'm looking forward to that. That's like, what is that, 6 days, 5 days, 6 days or
Damn.
something. So that's going to be a long one. And that's all horseback. So you hike up on your horseback, you
Wow.
fucking like tent, like table or what is it? Tablecloth tents is what they call them. So we stay in those. And then in next February, so 2025, granted, that's another year, doing a heli ski trip.
Really?
Yeah,
Who are you doing the elk hunting trip with?
just myself.
Really?
Yeah, just me and a guide.
Dude, that's awesome though.
So
That
I'm looking forward to that.
good for you for just not overthinking it and just like booking it and saying like, yeah, we'll, kind of figure out
Figure
the
it out as we
details.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of training ahead of this year to get myself into shape for the elk hunt and then obviously the heli ski trip. So
Dude, that's gonna be nuts. Who's flying the helicopter, Will?
I should invite him because that would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
But the
nuts.
hardest thing about the heli ski is that there's very few people that like. I'm not saying I'm a good skier because I wouldn't
Yeah.
classify myself as a good skier. I'm an okay skier, but it's hard. Like heli skiing is completely different compared to downhill skiing. So you have to find somebody with kind of like the skill set. And
Yeah.
so it was kind of hard basically pulling teeth. And I'm like, hey, I'm going on here. You want to come with me? Because that I wouldn't do that by myself. I'd want to go with at least a friend because then you kind of have a group. But
Yeah. No, that's awesome, dude. And I love planning those out too, because you kind of book it and then you figure out the details as you go, but just kind of pulling the trigger on it's fun.
Gives you something to look forward to in a way.
Yeah, that's awesome. We just booked a we always love looking at flights, and so in we booked these like yesterday. So in like 3 weeks we're going to Whistler, Canada.
Oh, hell yeah. That'll be
And
fun.
but we have no idea if there's going to be any snow or anything good. So we're kind of just like, the flights are like $170 round trip from Phoenix. And we're like, all right, no matter what, we're gonna go have a good time. And so we booked that and we'll just kind of keep an eye on the snow and like if it's gonna be good enough to ski or if we just do something else. So
Hell yeah. Well, hopefully they get snow because I mean we're in the same boat. I mean Fargo has zero snow right now. We're actually in a flood warning because of how much rain we've gotten. We got over Christmas, we got over like 3.5 inches of rain. And I was talking to Don with Glacier today, and he was telling me that it's between 12 and 14 inches of snow to 1 inch of rain. So we would have had a 3+ foot storm if it would have actually converted into snow around this area.
what?
Yeah, dude. So I was like, damn, that would have been kind of fun because I've never had like that big of a storm hit us. But I'm also
Wow.
kind of glad it didn't do that because that would have really screwed us for our dirt stuff that we still have going.
Yeah, dude. So I was actually gonna ask about that. So like, how does your schedule look? Because I was just back, I just got back to Arizona today, and I was back up in Fargo and Detroit Lakes this week, and we had 1 day of snow, and the rest is just rain. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, do you just keep going until you can't, or?
Just kind of keep going. I mean, it's kind of a bummer because we've got some decent frost. We've got probably 2 feet of frost in the ground now. So that makes things
Oh, I
slower,
see.
but it's still kind of, it's honestly full bore still. I mean, guys are still getting 120 hour weeks or 2 weeks, I should say, not weeks. That would be kind of
I
tough.
was gonna say
Um,
you're working these guys.
I just did payroll today and I saw those numbers and I was like, damn. But I mean, realistically, we'll be busy until at least the end of February with all of our dirt stuff if it doesn't snow. And if it doesn't snow, that means March, April, then we're right back to it with new projects. So it's been kind of a weird year, but I'm glad because of the workload that we have. There's no way we would have been able to do what we did if we had weather like we did last year, to where it froze up November 10th and then we had almost 40 inches of snow on the ground by Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think about because even like today, I know it was like still above freezing, and you just wonder like what is are you gonna get hit pretty hard January, February, probably, but like
Yeah.
that's normally you're like 4 or 5 months in total into a
January
winter,
usually really
so
slow. Like I remember
yeah,
last year we were calling it dry January because it only snowed twice.
interesting.
So we'll see what it brings this year. February, there's usually some good snow amounts. March, hopefully not, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And yeah, I guess I always feel for the guys too that are, gearing up for snow and if they're waiting because it's a mother nature thing. It's like, if that's what's paying your bills and what's paying the guys, it's tough when it doesn't come.
Yeah,
But as you know too, you gotta also zoom out and not plan just for the 1 year, but plan for the 5, 10 years because you're gonna have some of those soft years coming in. So
100%. And it's kind of funny that you say that as far as like you got to kind of plan. This year, I remember when we were bidding stuff in like July, all of our guys were telling us we have to stop bidding. Like we can't be bidding anymore. We possibly can't take any more on. And I'm
wow.
looking back at that and I'm like, I am so glad we did not stop bidding because you guys have this. There's so much work still that we have. If we wouldn't have bid, we wouldn't have had it. Everybody would have been sitting at home when we still could have been working. So that was
Wow.
a big lesson where I'm like, I will never stop bidding. I will continue to bid and kind of push the envelope. If I take too much on, that's on me. But at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm glad that we still have the work. And I know everybody that works for us right now is glad for it too.
Dude, that's crazy when you put it like that because you could be like, no, we're gonna button it up by mid-November, and you guys are
Yeah.
just be sitting there sitting on your hands. And I guess in that scenario, how does that work? Would you have to lay them off, or do they just scale back their hours, or how does that work like from a business standpoint?
So it's all on work, right? If we don't have work, I'm not going to pay you to sit around. I mean, you're going to get laid off.
Yeah,
And obviously, as the company, we risk losing people with that.
for sure.
Right? But I'm not just going to pay people to do nothing. So yeah, you will take a layoff. Normally in the winters, we have snow to supplement. Guys are pretty regularly with their 30 and 40 hours. You're working long hours in the summers to our summer or winter's a little bit slower, not totally. But if we didn't have any work, absolutely. Like, hey, sorry, this is what I got for you. And that's about it.
Yeah. Does everyone get paid hourly?
We've got a couple, I shouldn't say a couple. We have more than a couple on salary, but they're, kind of the management style guys that, they want salary to where it's bidding, it's, all of that stuff, the management side of it. Those guys are salary, but then like your equipment operators, your soups, your laborers, all those guys are hourly.
Yeah, I gotcha. And then how has EOS been going? Like the implementation of that?
Dude, so that's actually funny you bring that up too. We just canceled that. We aren't doing it.
Really?
No. So we had what was supposed to be our first meeting like December 4th, I think. Yeah. And we were planning on it to be frozen. We were planning on it to be like slow because we made this back in September, October, I think is when we like had the initial phone call. And it got to it and we're like, no, but everybody's out in the field. Like we can't afford to pull anybody in. So we're going to have to, not do it at this time. So we actually rescheduled it to January 4th. And so I just sent the email off today that we're actually canceling that meeting and we are doing a mentorship. This is new. I just accepted this last night. There's a mentorship program through BuildWet and Randy Blunt is going to be a mentor. So
really
that's a little bit more gear focused as far as like industry. And so I'm looking forward to that, to where Patrick would have been. I mean, there would have been good information that we could have got from him, but after, conversations that we've had with guys on crews and, our leadership team, we know where our weaknesses are. We just have to figure out how to implement better. And I think Randy, I've had a couple phone calls with him and we've talked about it. And he's like, Luke, here's what I offer. Here's what it entails. Here's what you have me for. This is what I would, help with essentially. And I was like, send me the document. I will accept it right now, So, and it was actually cheaper than what Patrick would have been.
All right, you dirtbags, we're going to take a quick break to thank one of our sponsors, Lambert Insurance Services. If you know Luke and I, we started this podcast to provide value to the construction industry. When we went to seek out an insurance company to work with, there's not a whole lot that are specific to the industry. And we really didn't want to work with a generalist agency, so we kind of put that on the back burner. Then we got to meet Sam Lambert. Sam is a fellow dirtbag himself. He's been in the industry for a long time, but he also started his insurance company in 2008 specifically for construction companies. So when we had that conversation, we knew that this would be the perfect match. So we started working with him and he's been incredible. He leads first. He wants to be a resource first and an insurance agency second. They can help with provide general liability, workers' comp, commercial truck insurance, insurance for equipment, and so many more different avenues that he can provide coverage for. The great part about it is, they're licensed in most states and they always quote through multiple companies. So that's how you can get a competitive rate. And even better, Sam, he's the owner. He wanted to provide his cell number just so if you have any questions, specifically from the dirtbags, you can always text him, give him a call, ask to compare plans or just ask, what his rates would be. And then he can help direct you to the right place or answer your question from there. His number is 385-204-5799, or you can reach them at their website, which is lambert-ins.com. So reach out to him if you have any insurance questions. We're very excited about this partnership. Sam is an awesome guy, and we're just excited to continue providing value for all you dirtbags. So thank you, Lambert Insurance. Give him a text, shoot him a call, let him know that you're fans of the Dirtbags podcast. All right, you dirtbags, are you tired of tedious manual data collection and costly field studies in your quarry or sand and gravel operations? Let's talk about VantagePoint, the first quarry operations software crafted to meet the high demands of modern data-driven quarrying. Seamlessly connect all of your equipment data and access the crucial information you need instantly. Be the hero of your operation by boosting efficiency, exceeding your productivity goals, and bottom line revenue with VantagePoint. Discover why 4 of the top 6 aggregate material producers in the U.S. are using VantagePoint. Visit VantagePointQuarry.com randysports.com/dirt to learn more.
It would have been.
Really? That's
Yeah.
cool because it's obviously a lot more specified as well because
Mhm.
Randy's been there, done that, and that's what they do. So is that something that's public that BuildWit's doing, or is that like a private, like,
It's through BuildWit. So they only do it with 6 contractors yearly.
I see. Cool.
So which is cool. Um, they can work with anybody in your region, whatever, but I think they come forward like if say somebody from Bismarck wanted to do the same thing, I think they would talk to us and be like, hey, so and so wants to work with us. Is there a conflict here? What do you guys think? And obviously, whatever. Everybody's got their own issues, so I don't think there's a
Yeah,
conflict. But it's cool that they only do 6 contractors a year, and then I believe after the year is up, you get first dibs to re-up on it as well.
I see.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
I love that model. We've actually talked about that with the dirt bags and like sponsors of, the people that are in, they have the first chance to re-up because then it's not like you're throwing them to the side, but you're like, if you want to keep doing it, we'll keep you in. If not, we need to replace you with somebody. And so I'm excited to hear more about that and like how it goes this year. So is it starting like right in January?
yeah. So it starts Q1 basically because our payment is due here on the first at the beginning of the quarter to them. And so then then it just goes basically until 2025 January 1, and then we have the opportunity to re-up with them.
Hell yeah. And then
Yeah.
is it so there's similarities where like he's working to help your systems, I'm guessing, and then kind of where your pain points are?
Yeah, I mean, he's a mentor, right? You come to him with your problems.
I
He
gotcha.
like say we're on a very high-end project
Yeah.
and there's things that we don't know. Randy will come in on the meeting with us on this project and be able to converse with us. And converse with like the general contractors and kind of like help us as far as the situation goes. Or, if there's a really big bid, he'll walk through our bid with
Mhm.
our estimating team and say, okay, here's where I see some red flags. Here's I don't like this. System implementation. He goes, that's a really big one. So anxious for that one. And just, I mean, basically a resource. He's like, Luke, I am a tool for you. You
Yeah.
get me, I give you an allotted this much time per month, and if we go over whatever, I'm here for you, but this is kind of the structure I want to follow. And then that's a month to month thing. So we bring honestly our problems to him, and
Yeah.
then we have like team meetings. It's like we can do one every week basically,
Yeah.
and then go from there. So I'm looking forward to that. I am excited that it's like a paid thing too, because I've
Yeah.
had some conversations with him to where, I mean, they're great conversations, but if you're paying for like advice, there's going to be a lot more to it. So
For
there's a lot
sure.
more value that comes along with it. So I'm looking forward to that piece.
Yeah, I love how you brought that up that, you're excited to pay. And I feel the same way with many different mentorships or coaches or whoever. Even like in our mastermind, I pay monthly for that, but it keeps me more involved. It keeps other people more involved with our business. And so the fact that, you are paying them, it turns it into a different relationship, right?
Yeah,
And it's just like, we're here to get to business now. And so I think, one thing on you that you need to make sure is that you're utilizing that time.
100%.
And, if you have the option to schedule weekly meetings with him, you get those on the schedule and not let that go 6 weeks without talking to him. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we should bring something up. And it'll only help keep you more organized and you and Cole and utilize like the resources that you have, which is, that's going to be awesome.
100%. Yeah. And it'll just be good, for the team, right? To like our leadership team to be involved with those meetings, to
Yeah.
kind of get to know Randy and his side of things a little bit more and kind of understand like what he did. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So
Sweet. And then I also saw the sign you got in the back there,
dirtbag.
the old
So
dirtbag sign.
fun fact, I don't know, James from Canadian Septic messaged me today, but did you know that Ski Patrol refers themselves as dirtbags as well?
So I didn't know that till you texted me.
I didn't either.
I even looked it up and I couldn't find anything on it. So
Yeah, dude, they
maybe,
have shirts with like Ski Patrol and they call it like the original dirt bags. And I'm like, fuck you
man,
guys. We're the original
yeah.
dirt bag.
Hopefully we're not.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's trademarked.
Hopefully we're not infringing on anything,
Yeah.
but
We'll get
yeah,
we'll,
no,
we'll get
it
a
was
cease and desist here coming up.
yeah, no kidding. It was actually really funny. My mom, Liz, was the one that found the signs
No
because
way.
they were in shopping, and she's like, "Luke, I got to show you this sign." I was like, "Mom, I'm not buying a sign. Like, what do you, what are you gonna show me this for?" And she's like, "No, no, no, come on, you got to see, you got to see."
Trust me.
Walked over to it, and there's the signs that say like "smoke our bowls,"
Yeah.
"cold smoke," stuff like that, like to skiing. And then I saw the dirtbag one, and I was like, I need one of those. And so I looked and I was like, there's only one. I need to get Luke one too. And so we went to the guy and he's like, those sell out pretty fast. We'll see if I have one. And he had one more. So I was like, I'll take it.
No way. And it's
Yeah,
black and silver, which is like our brand colors. I mean, it
I
couldn't be
know.
more perfect.
Couldn't have been more. It couldn't have been better. So I did not make these. I just stumbled upon them. So thanks,
Yeah,
Liz.
dude, that's awesome. And I'm a little bummed too. We were gonna have our Dirtbags Christmas party, which, where we go through our numbers and our strategy and everything for the new year. And we also play a little blackjack, but we're just gonna have to figure that out, jump on a
We're gonna
Zoom
have
call
to
or
do
something.
that in Michigan.
Yeah, we'll already be 2 months into the year, so
Mhm. I
but
know, but we can still have our year-end blackjack party.
yeah, there you go. And yeah, but I'm excited for this year though. On the dirtbag side, especially. I know, this 2023 was like a year of building and like trying things out and also like um building out some of the framework to continue to scale. And it's been awesome. Like everyone that listens has been like huge supporters of what we do. Like I feel like we rarely have I guess like dramatic people. You know what I'm saying? Like when people are just commenting everything, they get offended by everything and they're
Yep.
mad about what we said. Like I don't think I've ever had somebody message me about being mad about something I said.
No, I haven't had any I've had a couple things that have come up that like we've talked about that people disagree with, and I'm like, that's fine, you
Yeah.
can
And that's
disagree.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like everybody has their own opinion, whatever, but it's not like a fight or not like there's no maliciousness to the context of it. It's just like, hey, here's my thoughts. What do you think? Those are your thoughts, man. Great.
Yeah. I love the dialogue too, because you know, if you've listened to the show ever and you hear our Q&A section, it's like a lot of times we don't even have the answer and we're just
No.
like saying what's off the top of our head. So I think that also brings people's guards down too. It's because we we make a lot of mistakes and we know it, but it's yeah, you just kind of say what comes off the head there and
Yeah.
let it flow. But
I don't think there's any right or wrong answers with those either.
yeah,
You speak based on your experience, and everybody has different experiences.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends called me actually the other day and he was looking to start a podcast and so he called me and we are talking about it and he was asking for like a lot of advice and stuff and I'm just like, dude, I honestly like you just got to
off
kind of
the
be
cuff,
yourself. Like
yeah,
don't filter yourself, don't filter any of your guests like and you don't always have to be the one that's the expert. Like especially when you're starting, it helps so much just to bring on guests and ask them questions. Like, don't make it all about you and don't think that you need to have all these answers and all this expertise and all that. And then also I think what especially with podcasts, like you can pigeonhole yourself too much where it's like you only talk about one topic. I think it's good for you to learn as a host as you're talking to guests and your co-hosts or whoever to continue exploring other topics and like relevant issues in your industry and it should always be like changing and morphing instead of just like can you imagine if we only talked about like marketing on this podcast or we only talked about uh like our story, I guess it would be
there's only
so
so
boring.
much
We'd
that
have
you can talk about.
yeah, we'd have 3 episodes and we'd be like, all right, I think we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, this is the dirtbags are now done. But no, and it's the issues I think is what makes it fun because in this industry, it's such a small industry that a lot of people have the same issues as everybody else. So it's fun to hear like other people's examples, other people that, have common issues and how they overcame. And I think that's what, people really like to hear as well.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we were gonna do an in-person episode, which we didn't get to do of our, I think it was gonna be our top 10 uh challenges maybe or mistakes or
It was top 10 worst things that happened to you this year.
this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We still
but
need to.
yeah, bummed we didn't get to do that, when I was home, but I think we should still do it anyway
I
because I feel
agree.
like that could be an hour and a half episode.
That would be a long one because I'm sure there's exponent. I already know like 8 of them off the top of my head of what I would say, and full vulnerability there. I'm
Yeah.
gonna let it loose. So we'll have to schedule that one, Luke.
Yeah. No, that's good. Maybe we can schedule it right after the 75 hard is done, and so we can really dive into some good stuff.
I am in.
Cool. Sweet. Well, yeah, I know kind of as we're looking ahead here too. One thing that Liv and I are doing differently for this year that I just wanted to talk about a little bit, in our goal setting. I've had quite a few people reach out actually of like, how we set goals or why. And what's really helped me is just like having categories. And so we changed them up a little bit this year, but we have a physical goal, a financial goal, a career, so business goal, an educational goal, which I'm super pumped about this year, and then a bucket list item. So of those five, we just added the educational one. And so that can be anything. I know like for me, it could be, you name it. I could get certified for anything. It could be, even one thing I was thinking about too is, um, getting like my CDL or getting something like learning how to surf, something that I wouldn't normally do, but
Yeah,
just putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation where it's like, I'm just going to learn how to do this because I think it'd be awesome, or I think it would really help advance my career. So I
absolutely.
think that one will be interesting. But I think adding because we've always been, career oriented or business, but the bucket list item one is kind of cool because it gets you thinking like, okay, like what if, if this is my last year, what would I want to do if it's just like one thing? Let's just pick it off and do it. And so it's kind of fun to like do that. And within 12 months, like most of the things you can save up for in that time, or you can cut back on spending, or you can, adjust here and there. So I think it's just a good exercise to, if there's something you want to do, to set that aside, set some time aside, and then, save up to go do it.
100%. 100%. I like that educational goal. That's a fun one because you can people in the industry, right? When people think of education, they think of school.
Yeah.
Never stop learning, right? And I feel like that kind of gets pushed to the wayside as far as like continual learning, and it just kind of almost trying to survive type thing.
Yeah. Another educational one I had, which it's not going to be the goal that I set, but it's going to be one that I focus on is learning how to weld. Like
Oh yeah,
I've never done it before, and I've got so many great people that would teach me today to do it. And I'm like, why not go take somebody up on that and just like learn
100%.
how to do it? And so things like that, yeah, pulls you out of your comfort zone a little bit, but you also learn more about somebody else's industry or a certain topic. So as you're setting your goals for the year, obviously this is like the best time of year to do it at the end of the year. And then if you ever need somebody to like help you with your goals or also just like keep you accountable, just shoot us a message, let us know. I love, hearing what other people are doing too, because it gives me ideas and just continues to push us to, do something cool next year, but also, continue to better ourselves.
100%. 100%. I like it. I like it. Well, Luke, 2024, we are a couple days away. Gonna be a
Let's get
great
it.
year. Let's get
Hell
it.
yeah, dude. Yeah, I think that's a wrap. We got next episode should be a rant coming out, and then also Dirtbags University should
Ooh,
be. We're gonna confirm. You can put it in your calendar. January 30th. It's a
30th.
Tuesday. We're gonna do same time, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. We've got a big speaker coming in. We're super excited. I can't announce it yet, but there's also going to be some free stuff. He's published a book, so we're going to be sending that to anyone that registers, and just continue to load up with value in those webinars. Obviously, we're going to be
Can we talk about
drinking.
the topic?
Yeah, I think we do. So it's all about
Cash flow.
cash flow. So
Cash
it's
flow, cash management.
and our speaker just so happens to be like very well versed on the topic. He doesn't just do cash flow, or he's not just a banker, but he owns a business that helps construction companies with their cash flow. So I know we're super excited for he's already got his presentation built out for this Dirtbags University, but even more so for that Q&A that happens afterwards, where we just get to pepper him with questions and have him walk through like your guys' scenarios just to see like, what type of advice he can give.
Yep. And what better timing, because with the market kind of tightening
Yep.
on, it is. I shouldn't say in a way, the marketing is tight, or the market is tightening. It'll be really good to kind of like dive in. And again, he's posted on LinkedIn a couple like real world experiences and like true cost of things. So I'm really anxious to kind of dive into that with him.
Yeah, he's a stud and he's
Yeah.
super smart. So, really excited to get him on. But you can go on our website, dirtbagspodcast.com, and then I believe there's a university tab. You should be able to register in there by the time this episode drops. If not, shoot us a message and I'll get that fixed. But should be up and running. And then yeah, we'll plan on seeing you guys on the 30th.
Hell yeah. Love it. January
Sweet.
30th. Bring your booze or don't,
Yep.
or your notebook.
Bring your notepad, and it's gonna be a good time.
Hell yeah. All right, man. Well, I think that's a podcast.
All right, dude. We'll talk to you soon.